Today, I want to introduce Dr. Megan. She's a third generation pharmacist, and I want to discuss with Dr. Megan prednisone in general. Nice having you.
Thank you so much for letting me join you. Prednisone is my favorite thing to talk about.
Of course, my pleasure. So you all know my story already, that I basically was 23 years on steroids to treat my rheumatoid arthritis. And then 4 years ago, I started exploring cannabinoids and did my research and created my own formula, my own blend. And I was able to go off prednisone after 3 weeks without oil. And I never looked back. Now it's 4 years later, never had the need for prednisone anymore. Taking my oil, CBD twice a day. So the whole goal, yes, is going off prednisone. But what if you are taking prednisone? Are you aware of the horrendous side effects that can happen? And how do you mitigate those side effects? And Dr. Megan can talk about this whole topic.
Wonderful. So I come to you not just as a pharmacist who studied prednisone in pharmacy school, and it was one of those medications that's like, I never want that prescribed for me. That's one I don't want. And so when I had this crazy rash just spread from my chest down to my feet with these little tiny red dots, and my doctor called and said, you need to go to the emergency room right now. And I said, what? He's like, yeah, I think you're bleeding inside. And so I went, and I was literally bleeding internally. And platelets are one of your important blood cells. Normally is 150 to 400. That's a normal range. I had 3. I was this close to bleeding to death. If anything had hit my head, I probably would have bled internally and just died. And so that night they started me on prednisone in the hospital, and I was like, no, that is the one drug I never wanted to take. I don't want anything to do with it, but I also wanted to live. So I took it, and I thought it was just going to be a few weeks and then I would be back to myself. And then it wasn't just a few weeks, it was a few months. And then it was like, oh my goodness, I'm going to go on a year here. And thankfully, I got to go on chemotherapy, and I'm now off prednisone, and it was only 9 months that I was on prednisone. But when I was prescribed it, what was I concerned about? What were the side effects that I was concerned about? I was concerned about that night, insomnia. I wanted to sleep. That's actually the number one tweeted side effect is insomnia. I was worried about gaining weight because prednisone causes high blood sugars, which then causes hunger cravings and weight gain. And so I did not, I had just lost the baby weight from my last baby. And I had worked so hard to get there. And now it was suddenly coming back. So I was worried about the weight gain. And then I was worried about something that some people never even find out about from their doctor. And that's osteoporosis. I was really worried because it runs in my family. I didn't need any other problems to, contribute to my genetic predisposition to having osteoporosis. So those are the 3 biggest things I was worried about. There are actually 150 or more documented side effects to prednisone. Can you believe that?
Wow, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And do you have a list you compiled with all those 150?
Yes, actually, I did compile a list because what I was surprised to find when I just Googled prednisone side effects, I'd taken the test, I'd passed it in pharmacy school, but I just wanted a refresher to see what can I look for? What should I be worried about? And every list I saw was different, and they were inconsistent with each other, and none of them explained what I was experiencing. And I was shocked. And then I discovered that because prednisone is such an old drug, it was discovered in 1955,
right,
that it was actually grandfathered in. It never had to go through safety testing. And so there's not actually a drug manufacturer created list of side effects that shows up consistently everywhere.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So every list you see online is actually different because it's their list.
Wow.
This is WebMD's version. This is, all the different websites. This is our list of prednisone side effects. So what I did was I have friends who have the very expensive paid subscriptions to the drug databases. And I asked for, I just want prednisone, and they would send it to me. And I compiled that all. And so one had 48 side effects, one had 74, one had 120. And when I combined them all, there were over 150 different side effects. And that was when I was combining similar terms as well. Like there were hundreds if you were going for their like slightly different terms, like hypercholesterolemia versus high cholesterol, I combined those and there was still 150. So prednisone is full of side effects. It is stunning.
So now you have the lists. You're a pharmacist. You have the knowledge. What do you do?
So right after I started that chemotherapy, I had to start the chemotherapy because the prednisone was no longer working. My blood had crashed again. So it was just this roller coaster of high doses of prednisone and then my blood following. Like if I went lower on the prednisone, then my blood would crash and I would have to go back up on a higher dose. And so it just over and over high doses.
What's the high and what's the low?
So they actually tried me on a sister drug to prednisone called dexamethasone, and they did 10 of the highest strength tablets. So 40 milligrams of dexamethasone, which is equivalent to 225 milligrams of prednisone.
Wow.
That I was taking every day for 3 days, 4 days.
Wow.
It was horrible. That was so horrible. And so that was the highest. Did you get the moon face? What?
Did you get the moon face?
Oh, I got the moon face. I got the the pregnant looking belly. Oh, it was no fun at all. And so then they said, like, you either have to give up an organ because that's what's causing your problem, or you're going to have to go on chemo. And I was like, okay, fine. You're not cutting me open. I'll go on chemo. And so my blood was low. And they had to put way back on those high doses of prednisone. I'm going in for 8-hour-long infusions. And the day after one of them, I'm just staring at the ceiling, trying to take a nap because I'm so tired with the high doses of prednisone and the chemo. The side effects are horrible. And I'm just like, there has to be something better than this. What could be done? And all of these ideas came together and clicked in my head. And I was like, oh my goodness, the side effects are from nutrient depletion. How did I never see this before? That every pharmacist knows that the osteoporosis is because there's low calcium and vitamin D. Like that's on the board exams. Like you can't become a pharmacist without knowing that. And every prednisone patient, according to the doctors who prescribe it the most, should be taking calcium and vitamin D. Like this is baseline knowledge. All pharmacists know. Whether they share it with you or not, who knows? So I knew that, but then it was like, wait a second, that high blood sugar, those hunger cravings, oh my goodness, there's an actual depletion of a nutrient involved in that whole situation. Chromium. It's this metal mineral that's usually really quite rare in your body that is being depleted by the prednisone. Your body is being told to pee it all out by the prednisone. So you don't have any. If you had it and it was in this beautiful matrix with the insulin and the sugar, you would feel more calm and stable and less hungry and have less blood sugar swings and potentially less diabetes. But it's there. And so it's like, oh no, there's the calcium, vitamin D, there's the chromium, and those are just like the tip of the iceberg. When I started diving deep, I discovered there were at least 9 nutrients that prednisone steals from your body. And then I was able to match it up with that side effect list to discover that they match up. The nutrient depletion causes the side effects. So I was like, why did it take me this long to figure this out? Like I've been suffering for 8 months and I could have been taking something to make me feel better this whole time. I was so disappointed that I didn't have something. And so I was like, that's it. I am going to create this. I'm going to not only replenish the nutrients that prednisone steals, I'm also going to find ingredients that directly counteract side effects. So it's not just giving back those nutrients, it's also other ingredients that help to counteract side effects. So I put all that together and I invented a supplement, and it's called Nutrinize Zone. And so, oops, let's turn it the right way. Here we go. So we've got the morning Nutrinize, and it has ingredients that help with staying, like having your appetite under control and having your mood under control during the day. And then we have the bedtime, and we take that to help, obviously, to sleep at night so you can feel calm and rested. And so it not only gives back the calcium and the vitamin D, but all of these other nutrients too that you need to build strong bones.
That's cool. That's an amazing story. I like the entrepreneurial aspect of this. Hey, there's a real problem. There's no solution out there. I'll build a solution. So it's
Exactly.
pretty cool. So how long did it take you to develop this? And then how long are you taking that? Or so that's okay. So that's another question before we go back to the points I've mentioned. If someone manages to go off prednisone, do they still need to take these replacements for a while or forever, or for how long? How does it work?
Yeah, so everybody's different. Everybody had a different dose. Everybody had a different baseline inflammation, had a different baseline nutritional status. And so is really your, like, how you are feeling. When you stop the prednisone, do you feel 100% again? I know I didn't. I still, like 3 months later, was like, I'm not myself yet. I don't feel well yet. I don't feel like I've recovered from all of those side effects yet. And so it's because I was so depleted of all of those nutrients that my adrenals hadn't fully recovered. I had dug a pit and I hadn't quite gotten out of that pit nutritionally. And so, yeah, you take it until you're feeling like I'm me again. Like this like has picked me out of that pit.
Mhm. So back to that, the process. How long did it take you to develop that and to get it to the market, and
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
how long
So
did you take it?
I came up with the idea while I was on the prednisone way back in 2018. And it took about a year to figure out all of the nutrients we needed depleted, to figure out what ingredients would counteract side effects, to figure out the best manufacturer. I didn't want just some run-of-the-mill manufacturer. I wanted the very best because I wanted pharmaceutical grade ingredients. I wanted somebody who could give me as close to the quality of a prescription drug as possible, because I'm a pharmacist snob. Like, I know all about the testing and the rigorous nature of creating a drug. Like, I used to actually, compound drugs. I used to actually make them in the pharmacy. And I know there are pharmacies that don't make them very well. And my family's pharmacy is all about high quality, using the best ingredients. So I took that, and it took me a long time to find the best manufacturer, the best ingredients. And then to finally get the product to be able to sell it was over a year.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's cool.
Yep.
And since then, you've been selling it where? Online?
Yeah.
Online?
On nutrinize.com. That's where I sell it.
That's cool. And you have like a subscription base model?
Yeah. You can buy it one time, or you can save 10% and subscribe and save. And have it shipped to your house every month, or whatever frequency you want. We can help you get to the right schedule that works for you.
Cool. That's very cool. Do you have any like success stories with people that have taken it?
Yes. Oh, so many people constantly are like, Dr. Megan, I have two people to thank. First, God, and then you. I'm like, what? Okay. And then I'll tell you Kelly's story. So Kelly has a condition called lupus, and lupus means ongoing
Autoimmune.
inflammation your whole life, probably on prednisone potentially your whole life, or maybe just on and off prednisone.
Mhm.
And she said she was exhausted, was gaining weight, like just felt like she couldn't even be the mother or the wife she wanted to be, just couldn't play with her kids, just stuck at home and just suffering her condition. Like that's all she could do. And then she followed me for 6 months before she was like, well, what could be worse than this? Like she has 100% money back guarantee. Like, what do I have to lose? And so she tried Nutrizone. She bought it, she took it, and her doctor had told her before that her potassium, her magnesium, all of these were really low, and they were really concerned for her. And after she took this, her labs went back to normal. She was able to play with her children again. She was able to, she said, she lost a pound a day. I am not going to claim anybody else is going to lose a pound a day, but in her situation, the nutrient imbalances meant she was
Mhm.
retaining water and gaining weight, all of this stuff. She lost a pound a day. And so it just changed her life. She said it was a game changer for her, that she felt like herself again. So that's, I mean, I get that at least once a week. Somebody tells me
It's
that
amazing.
Nutrinize changed their life.
Yeah. There's nothing like customers that on their own initiative come and tell you, wow, this was a life changer. That's like the best
Yeah,
also for me.
exactly. To get through those hard days when, like yesterday for me, when my website went down, it's like, okay, it's worth it to figure out how to fix this, like to get through those hard days. When people tell me that, it's like, this is so worth it. If all I hear is just those amazing results.
That's pretty cool. That's a very, very good story. And again, I'm inspired by your entrepreneurial approach, to problem and solution. It was a pleasure talking to you. Of course, our goal is to get people off prednisone. However, if you are in prednisone or you're kind of in aftermath of prednisone after you stop, then there's something real to try out here that can really help you.
Yep,
It's amazing.
exactly. It's been a privilege being here. You can find Nutrinize at nutrinize.com.
Yeah, and we'll give all the details afterwards, all the links and everything. Yeah, and we'll get you some special deal, right?
That's right. Special deal from
Cool.
Ron.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Megan. Appreciate it. And I hope to see you again.
All right. Thanks, Ron.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.